12 questions, 3 domains, and no warning before we jump between them, because your real exam will not warn you either. This is a rapid-fire drill across domains 1, 2, and 3, the security principles, then incident response and continuity, then access controls. One question lands on risk, the next on a fire drill, the next on a locked server room, and then straight back again. That jumping is deliberate. Knowing a fact in a tidy row is easy. Recognizing it cold, out of order, is the actual exam skill. Here is your benchmark. Get 10 of these 12 right, and domains 1 to 3 are solid. 7 or fewer, and you will know exactly which lessons to replay. Brains on. Question 1. A hospital wants to guarantee that a patient's recorded medication dose cannot be altered without the change being detected. Which part of the CIA triad does that protect? A. Confidentiality. B. Integrity. C. Availability. D. Non-repudiation. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is B. Integrity. Here is why. Integrity is about data staying accurate and unaltered, and a tamper seal on the dose is exactly that. Confidentiality is about keeping the record secret, not unchanged, so A is out. Availability is about the record being there when needed, not about it being correct, so C is out. Non-repudiation stops someone denying an action they took, which is not what protecting the dose is about, so D is out. Remember, confidentiality is the locked drawer. Integrity is the tamper seal. Availability is the door that's always open for the right people. Now jump domains with me. Question 2. A security team has just finished confirming that a phishing email led to a genuine malware infection, and they immediately unplugged the affected laptops from the network. Which incident response phase are they entering? A. Preparation. B. Detection and analysis. C. Containment, eradication, and recovery. D. Post-incident activity. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is C. Containment, eradication, and recovery. Here is why. Unplugging the laptops to stop the spread is containment, the opening move of Phase 3. Preparation happens before any incident exists, so A is out. Detection and analysis just finished the moment they confirmed the infection, so B is the step right before this one. Post-incident activity is the review after recovery, not an action taken during it, so D is out. The order never changes. Get ready, spot it, stop it, learn from it. Now a completely different domain. Question 3. A marketing manager creates a shared folder of campaign files and personally chooses which colleagues are allowed to open it. Which access control model is in use? A. Discretionary access control. B. Mandatory access control. C. Role-based access control. D. Rule-based access control. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is A. Discretionary access control. Here is why. The owner deciding at her own discretion who gets in is the definition of DAC. Mandatory access control lets the system enforce labels and clearances with no personal choice, so B is out. Role-based access control grants access by job function, not by the owner picking names, so C is out. Rule-based applies one blanket rule to everyone, not a personal choice per folder, so D is out. Keep it straight. The owner decides, the system decides, your job decides. Back to domain 1. Question 4. A company assesses a rare risk that would cost very little even if it did happen, and decides to take no action and simply live with it. Which risk treatment is that? A. Avoidance. B. Mitigation. C. Transference. D. Acceptance. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is D. Acceptance. Here is why. Choosing to live with a small risk and take no action is acceptance. Avoidance means dropping the activity entirely to remove the risk, which they did not do, so A is out. Mitigation means adding a control to reduce it, which is still action, so B is out. Transference means shifting the risk to someone else, such as buying insurance, so C is out. Your 4 choices are always avoid it, mitigate it, transfer it, or accept it. Jump to domain 2. Question 5. A firm backs up its database every 30 minutes, so the most data it could ever lose in an outage is 30 minutes worth of work. Which metric does that describe? A. Recovery time objective. B. Recovery point objective. C. Maximum tolerable downtime. D. Business impact analysis. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is B. Recovery point objective. Here is why. How much data you could lose, measured back to your last good backup, is the recovery point objective. The recovery time objective is about how long you are down, not data lost. So A is out. Maximum tolerable downtime is another time measure, not a data measure. So C is out. A business impact analysis ranks which functions matter most. It is not a data loss target. So D is out. RTO is time lost. RPO is data lost. Now into domain 3. Question 6. At a bank, a review finds that one clerk can both raise a new loan and approve the release of its funds. The auditor insists the two steps be split between two people. Which principle is the auditor enforcing? A. Least privilege. B. Need to know. C. Separation of duties. D. Defense in depth. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is C. Separation of duties. Here is why. Splitting a sensitive process, so no single person controls it from start to finish, is separation of duties. Least privilege is about the amount of access one person holds, not splitting a task, so A is out. Need to know limits what information you can see, not whether one person can finish a transaction alone, so B is out. Defense in depth is about layering controls, which this scenario does not describe, so D is out. The one who writes the check can't be the one who signs it. Back to domain 1. Question 7. A building fits bright floodlights around its car park, hoping the visibility alone will put off would-be intruders before they even try anything. Which control function is that? A. Deterrent. B. Detective. C. Corrective. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is A. Deterrent. Here is why. A control that works on the mind to discourage an attacker before they act is a deterrent. A detective control spots an incident that is already happening, like a camera, so B is out. A corrective control fixes or restores things after the fact, so C is out. A compensating control is a stand-in when the main control cannot be used, which lighting is not here, so D is out. The 6 functions, in one breath: stop it, spot it, fix it, scare it, stand in, spell it out. Now domain 2 again. Question 8. After a flood, staff keeps certing customers from a backup office using phones and paper, while a separate team works to rebuild the servers. Which of these activities is business continuity, not disaster recovery? A. Rebuilding the servers. B. Restoring the databases from backup. C. Reinstalling the operating systems. D. Serving customers from the backup office. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is D. Serving customers from the backup office. Here is why. Keeping the essential work going while the disruption is still happening is business continuity. Rebuilding the servers is the technical IT restore, which is disaster recovery, so A is out. Restoring databases from backup is disaster recovery too, so B is out. Reinstalling operating systems is part of that same technical rebuild, so C is out. One line sorts them forever. BC keeps the lights on, DR turns them back on. Jump to domain 3. Question 9. A data center keeps losing control of its entrance because visitors slip through the door close behind staff before it swings shut. Which control is designed specifically to stop this tailgating? A. A taller perimeter fence. B. An access control vestibule. C. A CCTV camera. D. A security bollard. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is B. An access control vestibule. Here's why. The vestibule admits one person at a time and traps anyone following behind, so it stops tailgating by design. A perimeter fence guards the edge of the site, not the inner door, so A does nothing here. A CCTV camera only records the tailgater. It never stops them, so C is detective, not preventive. A bollard blocks vehicles, not people on foot, so D misses the point. Picture it, an airlock for people, one in, one out, tailgater trapped. Back to domain 1. Question 10. Under the ISC2 Code of Ethics, the 4 canons are listed in a deliberate order of priority. Which canon comes first? A. Act honorably, honestly, justly, responsibly, and legally. B. Provide diligent and competent service to principals. C. Protect society, the common good, necessary public trust and confidence, and the infrastructure. D. Advance and protect the profession. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is C. Protect society, the common good, necessary public trust and confidence, and the infrastructure. Here is why. The first canon protects society and the public good, because when canons conflict, society always wins. Acting honorably is the second canon, the one about yourself, so A is out. Serving principals diligently is the third canon, service, so B is out. Advancing the profession is the fourth and final canon, the sector, so D is out. The order is society, self, service, sector. Biggest circle to smallest. And society always wins. Now domain 2 once more. Question 11. A laptop holding an unencrypted spreadsheet of customer names and card numbers is stolen from a parked car. Which term best describes what has happened? A. A breach. B. An incident but not a breach. C. An event but nothing more. D. A vulnerability. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is A. A breach. Here is why. Confidential data was actually exposed to an outsider, which is the definition of a breach, the narrowest and most serious box. Calling it an incident but not a breach understates it, because a breach is a specific incident where data escapes, so B is out. An event is any neutral occurrence, far too broad for stolen card data, so C is out. A vulnerability is a weakness that could be exploited, not the loss event itself, so D is out. Every breach is also an incident and an event, but it never works in reverse. One last jump to domain 3, question 12. A new intern who only ever needs to update one spreadsheet is instead handed full administrator rights across every company server. Which principle has been violated? A. Separation of duties. B. Need to know. C. Defense in depth. D. Least privilege. Pause the video and pick your answer. Ready? The answer is D. Least privilege. Here's why. Granting far more access than the job requires breaks least privilege, which says give only the minimum needed and nothing more. Separation of duties is about splitting a task between people, not the size of one person's access, so A is out. Need to know limits what information you can see, not the level of system rights you hold, so B is out. Defense in depth is about layering controls, which this scenario does not touch, so C is out. Give people the keys to their office, not the whole building. Time to score yourself. 10 or more out of 12, and domains 1, 2, and 3 are genuinely solid, so you can move on with confidence. 8 or 9, and you are close, but circle the domains that tripped you and tighten them up. 7 or fewer, go back and re-watch those lessons before the exam, because these 3 domains are the foundation everything else is built on. Whatever your score, the fastest way to turn a shaky topic into an automatic one is repetition. Head to certcrush.app, where the CC question bank has hundreds more scenario questions just like these, sorted by domain, so you can drill exactly the ones you missed. Next up is Review 3, a rapid-fire run through Domain 4, Network Security, the single biggest slice of the whole exam. I will see you there.